Well, hello again everybody at WwT School and all our friends and all our family and anyone else who happens to see us. I hope you are all well and I hope you're all enjoying the sunshine. What a beautiful day. So we're going to start our collective worship for today, which is Wednesday, in the way that we normally do. So, good morning everyone. The Lord be with you. Now I'm wondering today, I'm thinking about the lovely weather, and I'm wondering how good you are at being detectives. There are clues in the garden, even in my garden, which does need some work doing to it, but there are clues in my garden and in fields and all around us that something wonderful is happening. And I'm going to read you the verse of a poem. I'm hoping you'll be able to see my computer. Let me move it across. And so there's the first verse of a poem. Now is the season of promise, when new life's beginning to grow, the time for rebirth and awakening, when blossom and buds start to show. Now I'm wondering if you've got any of those things happening in a garden or somewhere near you. I've certainly got some little buds and some leaves starting, and I've seen some blossom. So there we go. There's one tree with some buds, and then you can see the blossom opening. Wonder if you've been able to spot anything like that. I have a tree like this in my garden, which I can see from where I'm sitting, but it's not like that yet. It's just at the very early stages. Right, let's have a look at the next verse of our poem. Okay. The newborn appear in the meadow. On farm and in hedgerow and pond, there's a chorus of birds sweetly singing, in field and in forest beyond. Ah, right then, detectives. What do we mean by the newborn? And what are the birds doing? It says there's a chorus of birds sweetly singing. I wonder if you've heard them recently. And what's happening in the ponds? It talks about in the ponds. If you're in reception, and you're on the Seesaw page, you will probably have a clue about this already, because Mrs. Hall has been doing something in her garden. She's obviously got a pond in her garden and she's been having a look there, hasn't she? And here we have some pictures that go with that. Right. Now the last verse of the poem is telling us of the names of some flowers. So let's have a look at that. Oops, sorry, I can't see. Right then. So daffodils brighten our gardens, showing that winter has passed. The snowdrop and crocus still blooming tell us that spring's here at last. I wonder if you've got any of those flowers in your gardens, or if you've seen any. Daffodils are all over at the moment, aren't they? I bet you can see some quite easily. Maybe you've got them in your garden, or you can look outside and see them in somebody else's. And we've got, oh, I can't see from this position. So there we have some other flowers. So I wonder what signs you can see in your gardens whilst it's beautiful weather. I bet some of you, hopefully lots of you, have been able to get outside into your gardens if you've got a garden. And it's lovely after winter when we start to get colour in the gardens again. And on days like this, when we have the beautiful sunshine, it really is a lovely heart, and it lifts our spirits, doesn't it? And these signs of spring are great, and Easter is a bit like that. It's a time when Christians remember Jesus dying on the cross, and it's like the trees and flowers are waking at the moment from their winter sleep, and Jesus rose from the dead. And we did some work on that last week in collective worship, and we're going to look again next week as we get closer to Easter. And Christians believe that life after death is a new beginning. And in fact, most religions in the world look on the season of spring as a message of hope and promise. And spring, like I said before, it's an exciting time. It lifts us from the gloom of winter to the hope of a new beginning. So my question for you is, can you be a detective? Can you find any signs of spring? And you could let your teachers know, on Seesaw or on Google Classroom, or you could send a message in on the school Facebook page, or you could email and I can see them myself, and that would be lovely. See if you can see any signs of new beginnings. And here's another little Easter poem. Easter buds are springing, praise him, the Lord of all things lives anew, and all his works are rising too. So I am going to ask you to close your eyes, and I want you to have a think. Can you picture with your eyes closed any of the signs of spring that we talked about in the poem earlier? So we talked about the flowers, the different flowers. We talked about daffodils and snowdrops and crocus. We talked about newborn lambs and other newborn creatures that are being born. Think about the ponds and what you can find in the ponds, and the sound of birds singing, and blossom and buds, because the trees are beginning to get their leaves back if they're not evergreen trees, and things are changing there too. I'm going to say a prayer to thank God for this wonderful creation, and if you'd like to join in, remember you can say Amen at the end. Okay, so let's put our hands together and close our eyes. Dear God, thank you for the beauty and wonders of your world, and for the signs of spring that show us that life goes on. Help us to take the time to stop and look for the beauty that's all around us. Help us to be grateful and do all that we can to protect our world. Amen. And maybe, if you're in a singing mood, maybe a good song would be something like All Things Bright and Beautiful. Or one of those. Maybe you can think of a different hymn or song that would go well with that today. I hope you're all well, and I hope you're all enjoying your time in the sunshine. I'll see you again tomorrow. Let's go in the peace of Christ. Bye-bye.